Welcome to Currents of History, where the darkest secrets of the past are brought to light. Can you believe that in the 20th century, right in the heart of vibrant South America, there existed a nation where remnants of Nazi Germany still operated powerfully, even shielded by a dictator to build a massive underground economic empire? Today, we're uncovering a haunting chapter of history, a story many believe belongs only in thrilling movies, yet it was very real, right in the heart of South America. Join us as we delve into Alfredo Stroessner's Paraguay, a historical narrative rife with mystery, corruption, and a terrifying relationship with the specter of the Third Reich. Our story begins in 1954. This was when an ambitious army officer named Alfredo Stroessner orchestrated a swift coup, establishing a dictatorship that would last an astonishing 35 years in Paraguay. At first glance, Stroessner seemed like a typical Cold War leader, a staunch anti-communist, supported by the US as a bulwark against Soviet expansion in the region. But behind the facade of an anti-communist ally, Stroessner crafted a system of rule based on absolute military power, blatant patronage, and crucially, a massive underground economy. And this is where the ghost of the Third Reich began to take shape. When World War II ended, thousands of Nazi war criminals, those who had committed horrific crimes against humanity, escaped Europe. They found their way to South America, hiding in dense jungles and remote towns. Paraguay, with its rugged terrain, vast borders, and an emerging dictatorial regime, became an ideal destination. Among these fugitives were infamous figures like Josef Mengele, dubbed the Angel of Death, a brutal doctor at Auschwitz. Stroessner not only tolerated but actively welcomed these individuals. A big question arises: why? Why would a dictator roll out the red carpet for the remnants of a fallen regime? The answer lies in the wealth, knowledge, and special skills these individuals brought with them. They weren't just war criminals, they were experienced in organization, finance, and even intelligence operations. They were the perfect pieces for Stroessner to build an illicit economic network, solidifying his power and enriching himself beyond measure. These former Nazi operatives quickly integrated into Stroessner's clandestine apparatus. They engaged in every imaginable illicit activity, from smuggling cigarettes, alcohol, and coffee to drugs and weapons. Paraguay's long, porous borders, combined with the government's complicity, became perfect corridors for these operations. Massive black market shipments moved across borders, generating enormous profits. Money from these illicit activities was meticulously laundered through private banks and shell companies sponsored by Stroessner's government. This wasn't just a minor part of the economy, it was truly the backbone of the regime. It created a massive, uncontrolled financial flow, fueling the repressive state apparatus and providing immense personal wealth for Stroessner and his inner circle. The relationship between Stroessner and these former Nazis wasn't just about protection or tolerance, it was a symbiosis. A two-way street where both sides benefited from each other's existence. Stroessner gained a vast, unchecked financial stream from illegal operations, along with absolute loyalty from a group of people who had nowhere else to go. Conversely, these fugitives found an absolutely safe haven in Paraguay, a true paradise where they could live without fear of being hunted, where they could continue to nurture their extreme ideologies, and even operate unhindered. It was a perfect arrangement for a dictator in need of funds and criminals in need of refuge. Their trust ran so deep that, according to some sources, these former Nazi operatives were even entrusted with important roles within Paraguay's security and intelligence apparatus, helping Stroessner further consolidate his power and suppress all dissent. They brought not only wealth but also expertise in population control and clandestine organization, invaluable skills for a dictator. Although Stroessner maintained power for decades, making Paraguay one of South America's most enduring dictatorships, his rule became increasingly rotten and unsustainable. Paraguay's economy, overly reliant on illicit activities, gradually became distorted, and internal instability grew. International pressure also mounted significantly. Especially from the United States, one of Stroessner's initial allies. Washington began demanding that Paraguay improve its dire human rights situation and combat the rampant corruption that had become internationally known. Times had changed, and anti-communist shields were no longer tolerated unconditionally. In a dramatic turn of events, on February 3, 1989, Stroessner's own son-in-law, General Andrés Rodriguez, staged a military coup and overthrew him. It was a seismic event, ending 35 years of rule by one of the most notorious dictators in South American history. This was the climax of an autocratic reign, a period where absolute power led to extreme corruption and a terrifying alliance with the specter of the past. Stroessner's fall was more than just the end of a dictatorship. It unveiled a much larger extent of the corruption and the dark connection with Nazi remnants. Classified documents released later, especially those found after his overthrow, revealed the deep roots of this complicity, shocking the entire world. Stroessner's legacy is a major scar on Paraguay's history. An economy distorted, dependent on illicit activities. A society repressed, where personal freedoms were stripped away. And a past haunted by the ghost of Nazism, a dark chapter that Paraguay is still struggling to heal from and confront. The story of Alfredo Stroessner and his strange, terrifying connection with Nazi remnants is a powerful reminder of the dangers of absolute power, and how corruption can infiltrate every corner of a nation. It also shows how extreme ideologies can find a foothold, even thrive, in chaotic and opaque political environments. History is never monochrome. It's complex, full of contrasting shades, and sometimes, the most terrifying truths are hidden behind seemingly harmless curtains. This story is a vivid testament to that. What do you think about this strange and dark connection? Do you believe the ghosts of history still linger somewhere, waiting for an opportunity to rise again? Leave your comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Unseen Past to discover more fascinating and mysterious historical tales. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.